Welcome to Daily Joys. I've come down to the allotment plot to see what I can get up to today. I'm now going to mulch my beds. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm trying a no-dig method on my beds this year, and the idea behind it is that you put the mulch on the top and then the worms come and they take the nutrients from the top of the soil and then they incorporate it into the soil for you. And they say that the worms can dig over the soil and add nutrients into it far better than I could. I'm quite excited to try this out, and if I can get away from digging, that would definitely be an advantage. Although I am still going to be digging out my perennial weed roots, all the beds where I've already cleared the weed roots out of it, I'm now going to be doing the no-dig with. There are lots of different mulches you can use. You can use wood chips, cardboard, compost, but the one I have a ready supply of is the waste from my rabbits and from my quail at home. I'll show you my compost bin here that's been sitting here over winter. They say that you shouldn't put the wood chips on your bed straight away because they can take the nitrogen out of the soil, and so what you should do is you should leave the wood chips to start decomposing in your compost bin for a couple of months before you start adding them to your beds. And so that's what I've done. I've left these over winter and now they should be ready to put onto my beds. So I am putting them into a bucket here. And then I'm going to put them on my beds. So I'm now spreading an even layer across the surface of the soil. I'm making this about 1 inch thick. If I had more of this ready to go out onto the plot, I would make it thicker, but I don't. But it's alright because as the summer goes on, I'll be able to add more and more to my beds. I found this was really useful last year. I managed to mulch a couple of my beds and I found that the weeds were really reduced in those areas. And I also found that it helped with the moisture retention of the soil, and so I didn't have to water those beds as frequently because they didn't dry out as quickly as the other ones where it was just the bare soil on the surface. You'll also find that the worm population in these beds will really increase because they've got a ready access to food and they really enjoy collecting the mulch from the top and taking it down into the soil. These 2 beds are now finished and they look really neat and tidy with a top dressing on top of the bare soil, and the plants will really appreciate this through the season. Now here are the Swiss chard that I planted out the other day. Once their roots get established, they'll really start to grow, and so in a couple of weeks I'll come back and I'll video them again and you'll see how much bigger they've gotten. Over here are the rhubarbs that I was given a couple of weeks ago, and they're just settling in, and so I'm not expecting too much from those this year. And these are my artichokes that I moved earlier on in the season. And here are my autumn bliss raspberries that I planted out in spring last year, so hopefully they'll do really well this year. And these are my strawberries that I planted out in spring last year as well. Now I'm going to put down another path, and how I do this is I lay the weed suppressing membrane down and I use these metal tacks to hold it down in the soil, and I hammer them into the ground with this little mallet, and I find that that works really well and the paths stay in place. And then you just put a new tack in every couple of feet or so all the way around the edge so that it doesn't get pulled up by the wind and so you don't trip over it. Just raking the ground out so that it's nice and level. I then lay the weed suppressing membrane down on top of the soil and start tacking it down all the way along the length, and then it's finished. It only takes a couple of minutes to lay this down and create a new path, and so it's all done. It looks quite neat and smart now, and hopefully I'll be able to get quite a lot more done this month. If I'm not able to work the ground because it's too wet for too long, what I will do is I'll cover the soil to keep it dry during the rain showers, and then I'll just remove my cover when it dries out. This is the next bed that I've already dug out, but I like to dig quite a lot more than I need so that I don't get soil onto the pre-dug out area. This is where the next bed ends, if you have a look down there, and so it's 4 foot wide, so it goes from here to there, and then this is the path, but I'll dig another couple of feet before I actually put down the next path. And if you have a look down here, this is the rest that I need to get dug out before May, when everything needs to start being planted out. So fingers crossed we get lots of sunshine. This is what I managed to get done last year, and then over the last couple of weeks this is what I've managed to do, and I'm quite pleased with my progress. Hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!